Hi there, Warriors, and welcome to this live stream of the Uruguayan Heroes YouTube account. It's been a while, but I thought today was a good day to come back and have a look at the last weekend's action, but also just the beginning of the season, the transfers, the national team, and all these stuff that are important to the Uruguay national team and a community which loves this team. Hopefully, the rain, which is coming down on my roof, is not intervening with the sound too much. Other than that, if it is the case, please tell me and I will fix another position, another place. But yeah, let's get straight into it. I think this weekend, obviously, the main talking point is Nacional and Peñarol, the game, the Clásico, with Suárez scoring a wonder goal. That is obviously the main talking point. And Suarez's goal with his left from outside of the box. I mean, it's not like it's a shock that he scores with his left foot because we all know he has been really good on his left foot as well. I mean, this is obviously something you develop, but certainly in his time at Ajax, he said in interviews that his football, how do you say, his football development took another level at Ajax technically. Because at Uruguay, he was rash. He was a youngster coming through, playing off emotion, of instinct. But at Ajax, he was more schooled in a technical way and tactical way. And yeah, so he said from this period, he really improved his left foot. And yeah, we saw, I think last year was a goal for Atletico de Madrid away to Osasuna when he scored with his left foot from 40, 50 yards out. So yeah, we know we can do it on both foot. He can do it with his head. He can do it any way we want because it's Suarez. And even at 35 years of age, scoring such a goal in such a game, I mean, I really loved it. It was a brilliant moment. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Probably if you're a Peñarol fan, you wouldn't have really enjoyed it. But anyway, it's still good to see Suarez shining because it's good not only for Nacional maybe, but also for the national team. Because Suarez, whether you like it or not, he's going to be a big part for the World Cup squad. And I heard or I read the comments from former president of Peñarol that Suarez is going to be a good substitute to Darwin in the World Cup, but I'm not too sure about this. Not too sure about this, but we will see. We will see. Thanks to the guys or girls, whoever, wherever you're from, whoever you are, for being here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this weekend, and hopefully you've enjoyed the start of the weekend. And if you can tell me, hopefully you can, the player which has most pleasantly surprised you the most so far. I know it's only 4 or 5 weeks, but player that maybe you didn't expect to do anything, and now at the start of the season he's already proven to be a really good player, or has maybe proving your doubts wrong. One player I would like to highlight. It's not like I thought it was a bad player, but he's just a bit of an unknown quantity. Is Gaston Alvarez from Getafe. He went to Getafe from Boston River on a loan deal in last January, and he didn't got any playing time. And now in the preseason, he scored 2 goals in a game, and he played quite a bit. And when the season started, he was again outside of the starting 11. So I thought, well, maybe this is not really good because Getafe have been shaky defensively last season as well, and certainly this season. So I think if there's ever a moment for him to go in, it's now. And luckily against Villarreal last weekend, so not this weekend, but one previous to it, he played and he did really well. And this weekend, although he came on at halftime and Valencia were beating Getafe 3-0, he came on and scored a goal. So it's a positive one. It's really good to see this. And that's, to be honest, what I like the most about doing this account, but following Uruguayan football players overall. I mean, obviously, I love when Suarez scores a goal, or Darwin scores a goal, or when Jimenez has a great game, or Valverde does something brilliantly, because these are the big players on the big stage, playing for the biggest clubs. But for me, even more pleasing when you see maybe a youngster, or maybe a player like Aram Bari, for example, who's a bit older, doing well and receiving the plaudits and making progress in his career. I really like this part of following Uruguayans in Europe. For example, Nicolas Marichal, he is now gone to Dynamo Moscow, which is a controversial move for sure. But it is also interesting to follow because he's a good player. I think he came on the scene for Nacional and really showed his quality immediately. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Marichal is one of many examples because that's the thing now. So many players have gone to Europe this summer or this winter, depending where you live. And unfortunately, I was meant to do like my head in a really little space on the left or the right up on the screen, and then share a screen with SofaScore, for example, or Twitter or YouTube, and going looking at some things. But I couldn't get it to work at the moment, so I will have to try and fix this and do it in the future because it's probably better than it's gonna be more better for us, I think, because it's more interactive and we can look at some stats or some videos. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna have a look at the comments. Case Meyer finally back. Yeah, it took a while, but nice for you to be here. Then you have Satriano should be in the Qatar, should be in Qatar instead of Maxi Gomez. Well, I mean, you could certainly argue for this. We will have to see how Maxi Gomez will do at Trabzonspor, but Maxi Gomez, his spot in a World Cup squad or in the Uruguay squad, for that matter, is certainly up for grabs. And yeah, I mean, for me, Maxi, Cáceres, these two especially, they shouldn't have been in the current squad, which they are, which is a shame. Because now it's the time to have a look at some other players, players who have not been there before and who have shown promise in their club with their clubs in the recent months or last year, like Leonardo Fernandez is a player like this. Satriano is luckily in the squad, but I mean we know what Cáceres is gonna give us, and we know what Maxi is gonna give us at this moment in time. I'm happy to be proven wrong, and he will score lots of goals at Trabzonspor. But his period at Valencia is just not good. It's not been it's been really bad, to be honest, and it's a shame because I think we all saw a player who came onto the scene or broke onto the scene at Celta, scoring I think it's 30 goals in his first two seasons combined, which is, well, no mean feat playing for a club which was fighting against relegation for basically certainly the second season. They were massively involved in the relegation fight, so that's no mean feat, obviously. And then logically, you would think him stepping up to the new team, a new club, better club, higher ranked, better players surrounding him. It's a step, a positive step, a step to a higher level in his own game, but it hasn't been the case. And Valencia has been a mess for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Now it looks like it's getting better with Gattuso, but so that is an excuse you could use for him. But at the end of the day, for me, Maxi Gomez has to look at himself for his period at Valencia, and it might result in him missing the World Cup, and that will be really a shame for him. But it's the reality, because reality dictates to me anyway that Maxi Gomez is no way a certainty for the squad, and Satriano, Augusto Alvarez Martinez, these players, Matias Areso, can all grab that spot. Even Nico Lopez, for example, who might not be getting a lot of playing time at the moment for Tigres, but many players who can certainly fight for that, I think, fourth attacking spot, because we have Suárez, Cavani, Darwin, but the fourth striker spot, which certainly will go, now we have a 26-man squad, is many names in this debate, and Alonso is the one who's going to make the decisions, and Alonso, for some reason or another, still really has confidence in Maxi Gomez. I mean, he started him against USA, and he also, I mean, sometimes when you hear managers talk, you have to read between the lines a little bit, because a lot of the things that it will say is some, well, just political correctness, or the answers that they know make sense, but it's not really saying anything. They're talking, but they're not really saying anything. With Alonso, it's different. Alonso is quite a genuine guy in the press conferences, who speaks his mind, who's clear, doesn't mess around, doesn't how do you say? If there's an elephant in a room, he will address it. He's not someone who's trying to stay clear, stay out of trouble. He will tell you the truth. And from what I've heard from him, he likes Maxi, to be honest. So we'll see how it's gonna unfold. It's gonna be interesting for sure. And I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down what the guys do on the football pitch, which is obviously a very simple way of looking at it, but it is the truth. We have, I think it's 3 months or 2.5 months left for them to fight for the World Cup squad spot, and there are many, like I said, many out there. And a question to you guys: who should be your fourth? Who would be your fourth striker? So, like after Darwin, Cavani, and Suárez, who would be your fourth striker going to Qatar? For me, I think at the moment it's really undecided. The profile Satriano got is really interesting, and I think it's quite different to what we already got. So that's why I might lean a little bit to Satriano, but it's a difficult one, we have to say. Okay, let's have a look at the comment from Migusta Gaming. Thanks for being here, Migusta Gaming. Just like Deniev, Jorge Cepero, I am DSM, and anyone who is not commenting or watching, thanks for being here, and I appreciate it a lot. I really do. But Migusta Gaming says, just finished watching Galatasaray. Torreira held down the midfield by himself when Gala went down a man at the end of the first half. So I was watching parts of it as well. I was also watching something else on TV, but I was watching Galatasaray as well. And you are right. He did play quite well. I think this is not a criticism of him, but the first goal, he in transition, he was really lazy, I think. I mean, it might not have made a difference, but the way he tracked back was quite lazy for me. But overall, in possession, he played well, and he certainly was one of the reasons, or probably the main reason, why Galatasaray stayed quite on top in the game, despite being a man down. And on Muslera was certainly not at fault. I agree. I mean, it was a good shot from the Gaziantep. I think it was Gaziantep, the team scout. So it was a good shot by a player of them, whose name, escapes me at this moment, or was never in there, to be honest, because I don't really watch a lot of them. A lot of Uruguayans to follow, so no, that I haven't watched. I am DSM says, in your opinion, what do you think of Agustin getting playing time or even getting a chance at all? I think you mean Agustin Alvarez Martinez in this case, right? Well, he just started at Sassuolo, and a bit like Satriano, he scored today, which is brilliant. He now has played 3 consecutive games from the starting 11. Before this, he was sub. And Agustin Alvarez Martinez, El Canario, he's even getting less and less playing time. I think he's been subbed on 2 times, including the one in the weekend against Cremonense. I saw this game of him. I think he did well. But yeah, he has to fight for his playing time. And Sassuolo has, although they sold some, they also still got some decent or really good, exciting players up front. But for me, it doesn't worry me at the moment, because I think he will get his chances. And I think he will prove to be a really good player in Italy. So I'm not really worried. But yeah, for sure, we want to see him more, because, I mean, I understand when you're going to a new team, a new country, it takes a little bit of time. But having said that, you also can take this a bit too far. At the end of the day, it's football. And yeah, I mean, I think hopefully he gets more playing time. That's all we want. And it's, you know what it is? It's also like the team at the moment, Sassuolo, is not starting really well. So there is going to be chances for him, maybe even a start soon, when Sassuolo keep, struggling. I wouldn't say they're struggling a lot, but yeah, they could have started better for sure, which means that there's room for improvement, and Agustin Alvarez Martinez can step up and maybe deliver the goods. Who knows? We will see. It's going to be, there's so many players all around Europe, and also in South America, obviously. For example, Salomon Rodriguez. Miguel Mercantil as well in Palmeiras, but I wanted to highlight Salomon Rodriguez from Godoy Cruz, the former club of Moro Garcia. God rest his soul, please. Beautiful tribute from national fans yesterday. But going back to Salomon Rodriguez, he's a talented player, talented striker, 22 years of age, scores quite easily. and he's a good player, overall good player. I like him a lot, and I mean that's just an example. But you got in Argentina and Mexico and Brazil, even in Ecuador or in Peru. I mean, and in a lot of countries in Europe, you got Uruguayans doing well, being important players. Rodrigo Salazar at Schalke, no fear. Uh, I mean, so exciting. And for me personally, and probably for a lot of you as well, I'm busy certainly this year with school because, to be honest, last few years I have really thrown this away a little bit, and now the time is not on my side. But still, I will always make times to watch Uruguay and to follow Uruguayan footballers. But it's gonna be exciting to do this season for sure because with Cavani still at Valencia in Europe, but with Suárez away, Godin away from Europe, yeah, we are really experiencing the birth of a new generation, which is cementing itself in Europe's elite, like Darwin and Valverde, and that is exciting. That is unbelievably exciting for me. Jorge Cepero says, sorry, first Danny F says Satriano, Marichal, Mele, and Salazar instead of Maxi Gomez, Cáceres, Sosa, and Gurarian for Uruguay. Yeah, I couldn't really disagree with this. Gurarian, I think, is a good player, but I don't see the use or the I don't see the utility of him in our current squad. So I absolutely agree. Salazar is an upgrade on him, brings something different, attacking, certainly in the attacking phase of the game. Gurarian is a good player, really is versatile, but I think he's not the level Uruguay needs to be a contender with the World Cup, which obviously we want to be. So yeah, I agree with this. Jorge Cepero says, "Hey David, hope you're doing well. Can't wait for the World Cup." I'm doing okay, Jorge. Thank you for a lot for this, and likewise, hopefully you are doing well, just like everybody in the stream. And I mean, I can't wait for the World Cup either. But I just still hate that it's in the middle of a season and also in the middle of a school year for me, which just sucks. But that's the way it is. It's gonna be great anyway, and hopefully Uruguay can make us proud. And yeah, I mean, I'm positive. I'm positive about Uruguay in the World Cup. Salazar deserves to be in the 26. I think. I think if you make a poll on Twitter, at the moment, I think 90% will agree with this. Maybe even 95, because, yeah, I mean, there are just some certain players who have been there quite a while, like Svecino, who absolutely will go to the World Cup, and um, that is what it is. I don't quite agree with it, but I understand why it's happening. But players like this, Salazar is a different type, but he would be a good replacement because he would add something to our team, which we don't have it in abundance. I mean, we don't have it in abundance. As a player of Salazar's quality, I mean, Darasqueta, you could argue, is similar, but for me, it's different. Salazar is more power, more lungs, more energy in the midfield. We obviously have energy, but I know he's just. I think he's just a brilliant player, and I think with his emergence in Schalke, and also starting off the season quite well, certainly in the first few games. It's hard to look past him, and I don't think. And he's obviously been called up to the preliminary squad, so he hopefully will be in the final squad, and that will be brilliant. Yes, would really be brilliant, and the same would go for Agustin Rogel, who has gone to Hertha BSC. Done so well for Independiente. We will have to see if he makes it in Europe, but it does no harm to call him up because he's a player on the up. 24 years of age with a history, the Uruguayan national team in the youth department. So these players, yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I just hope that they are going to be called up to the final squad because yes, we can play against Iran or Canada with Mike Cáceres on right back or with Piqueres on left back, which yeah, this could happen obviously, but what do we learn from it? We have to. This is the last two games where we can find out if a certain player, which has not been playing yet for the national team, could be of value for us. So, but yeah, we will see. We will see. No, Jorge, you make a really good point. That's really that's really something else. Yeah, that's. I mean, if you said this 4 or 5 years ago, you would be put in a straitjacket because it's just would be a crazy statement. Because Suarez and Cavani, to a certain extent, just carried Uruguay, and now our midfield and our defense as well, obviously, but hopefully injuries will be in our favor, or it will just won't happen. That hopefully the situation of Jimenez and Arajo will be good. Um, but yeah, if you look at the midfield now with Bentancur getting more and more comfortable in England and being really a 7 out of 10 every week now, which is not the Bentancur of Juventus, which sometimes used to be an 8, a 7, but sometimes also a 4 or a 3. And him with Valverde, I mean, I still think we have to play with a defensive midfielder or deep line playmaker behind them, like Torreira or Ugarte maybe. Um, but yeah, the options we have in the midfield are just promising, or promising would be probably downplaying it a little bit. It's just really exciting. It's great. So yeah, I'm with you on this one. It's the attacking positions is more. I don't worry about it because I have the confidence in Suárez, Cavani when it matters that they will be there, and also have confidence in Darwin and the young stars coming through like Pelistri, and maybe Ocampo can come through at Cadiz doing well and be of use for the national team. But for sure, the chemistry or the answers, we're still looking for a solution to how we will play, how we will field well in the attack on in the World Cup. It's more of a concern because yeah, uh, it's going to be hard to play Suarez Cavani together, which I don't think we should. But what couple are we getting then? Are we getting Cavani and Darwin, or are we going to a one striker system with Pelistri on the right and Tarasqueta maybe from the left, basically as an extra midfielder, creating space for Oliveira to overlap? These are all options we have, but decisions have to be made. And the problem is with these decisions is that they are not at the moment, for me anyway, they're not that obvious. It's not like, yeah, obviously you can come up with a game plan and you can make a good case. For example, playing Darasqueta on the left with Oliveira as the overlapping fullback. With you can play Darwin at the striker position, Pelistri on the right, and then you will go with Valverde, who is the most well the most explosive midfielder, the box to box one, and Bentancur as a holding one. And okay, it could work. Obviously, it could work, but we have to realize that there are still certain things that Suarez, for example, or Cavani have, which Darwin might not offer at the in the big stage, and that's why it's so hard because you cannot you can leave Suarez out. Obviously, you can, and Uruguay will do in a World Cup on a certain occasion. I'm pretty sure about this, but um, the thing, the systems we can maybe draw up on board at the moment with Darwin in the striker position, with Pelistri, this and Valverde and Bentancur and Darasqueta, Oliveira. This obviously could be a really good plan, but these players, for example, like Oliveira, like Darwin, like Pelistri, the competitive games they've played together are probably you can count them on one hand. So yes, it could work, but I think Alonso will still hang on to some of his more seasoned pros and his excellent pros, obviously, like Suarez, Cavani, maybe even Vecino. And is he right to do this? We will see. Maybe I'm going a bit too deep bit too deep into it. It's just I've been thinking a lot about how we are gonna field, how we're gonna line up, and I'm not really sure how we should and how to Alonso is gonna line up. So yeah, but okay. Jorge, with another comment. Forward availability should be Darwin, Cavani, Suarez, Satriano, Alvarez, or Gomez. I think I agree with this. Yeah, the fourth choice is up for choice. Although Suarez, Cavani, I would probably swap because Cavani hasn't played a game for a long time now. We have to see how he does at Valencia. Yeah, I mean, we have to see. Um, Hopefully, it will go well. But Suarez for me is head of the pecking order, ahead of Cavani in the pecking order for sure. Maybe I'm the only one in this, but yeah. So And then the fourth choice, that's a difficult one. I think Satriano, like I said, my preference lies with Satriano, but it's not an easy decision to make. Um, no, it really is not. Jorge Zebero says, I don't think Ten Hag will give Pelistri a chance to play. What do you think? Well, um, I don't think so as well, to be honest, because they got now Anthony. They signed him for like, I think it's 95 million. You got Rashford, you got Sancho, you got Elanga as well. And I know Rashford plays as a 9 at the moment, but you have Martial and you have Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So there's a lot of competition for places there. And Pelistri, as good as a player he is, um, he's just really unlucky that he just got injured at the end of the transfer window, or well, I think it was anyway in the summer when the deals were being made, and when there were many suitors, many clubs looking into him, and he got injured. And when you take someone on loan and you see the first month he's missing, that is a factor you will take into account, and that has weighed heavily on the fact that Pelistri or has weighed heavily on the decision from Pelistri or from United to keep him here, and from the clubs who were looking into him to not sign him on a loan. And will it be the good thing? Good thing? I don't know. I just know that Alonso will take him to the World Cup, 100%, and because he believes in him, and he has put his faith in Pelistri, and he repaid it in this crucial qualifiers. So I'm not gonna doubt him, Alonso, on this, but Pelistri, I would have preferred to see him somewhere else on loan. But yeah, the injury just complicated the whole situation, which is just a shame. Nicolas Hernandez Vidal. I'm gonna go through these comments a bit faster because I obviously want to discuss everything with you. And again, thanks for being here. Thanks a lot. Nice to see many people who obviously I recognize from Twitter and also from the live stream before to be here again. And also, if you're new here, thanks to you that you're being here, taking your time or taking time out of your day to listen to me, and hopefully also look at the chat, which gives some really good questions and also some good insight. And if you're not already, please follow or subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video if you want. Would help me out a lot. Thank you. So Nicolas Hernandez Vidal says, "Hi David, just joined. Don't know if you've gotten his question already, but who do you think should be our starting 11 in Qatar? Also, do you collect the Panini stickers album?" So the last question, the second question, no, I don't. Never done this, to be honest. I don't know why. I mean, I obviously know it's a big thing, but I've never done this. What I used to do, though, is when I think there was the World Cup in South Africa. I live in the Netherlands, like probably quite a few of you know, and you have Football International is like the main magazine, or used to be anyway, for football. And when the World Cup came out, they always had this special, just like they got when a new season of the Dutch league starts. You have this special with all the teams where they play and all these things. So I used to always go and cut out the photos or the how do you say, the squad names, so the full squad list, and put them or stick them with glue, obviously, on a white A4 paper, and make something of it, make it my own collection, and try to write things about them or things like this. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have a Panini sticker album, but like anyone, I think, who is quite obsessed with football, yeah, you're just so excited that you want to do something with this excitement, whether it's playing a video game, which, believe me, I've done a lot as well around the World Cup with the World Cup modes, whether it is play football yourself or make something. And so I do have this urge as well, but Panini sticker album, no, I never gotten into this. Maybe will do this year. Who knows? We will see. And your second question, I think the starting 11, I think we should do a different stream to this. I went into it a little bit just a few moments ago, but for me, I think it's a hard one. I think we should just do another live stream for it, and yeah, will be great. I think, to do this. Jorge Cepero says Leandro Cabrera deserves to be in the 26. He shouldn't be left out of the squad because of respect for the old generation. 100% agree with this. Cabrera has been one of just an underrated centre back in Spain. First for Getafe, then he went to Espanyol. They went down, but he stayed there, and he came up again. Last season, did really well for Espanyol, and this season, I mean, I know he went into the goal against Real Madrid because their goalkeeper was sent off, and they already made all substitutions, and he conceded the free kick goal from Benzema, so that sticks on my mind now. But seriously, he's just a really decent, good defender. Who I think when you have Coates, Jimenez, Arajo, which for me are the three best centre backs Uruguay have. Godin is our captain, so he will be there. I'm absolutely sure of it. But Cabrera, who even can play left back as well, should always be ahead of Cáceres, for example. So yeah, I agree with you that he should be with a shout to make it. Um, is he gonna? I'm not so optimistic because it seems like he just misses the boat, or how do you say it? It's an expression in my native language that but probably not translates very well to English. But he's not going to make the cut. Is my feeling, which is a shame for him because. And for example, also with Alfonso Espino, when you look at the left back options now, Oliveira, who is not the starter for Napoli, which is a shame, and it's not that doesn't make me think, oh, he shouldn't be on the squad. Obviously, that is not the case. I mean, might look stupid, but well, I'm not. So, but the thing is, the situation with the left backs now is Oliveira is the number one. Then you have Fina, Piqueres, and for me, Pacha Espino. And if you look at these three, Espino last season was absolutely brilliant for Cadiz. This season, they started really didn't start well, and he hasn't started brilliantly as well. But Fina is a substitute for Roma. Piqueres is decent, but I've never been convinced by Piqueres, to be honest. Never really been convinced. So for me, not to see him on the 40, I think it was 41 player preliminary squad list, um, is just a shame because I think he deserves it. And you could say, okay, he's 32, 31, 33. What is he? Vinia and Piqueras have more prospect, but I don't care about this at the moment. I mean, it's not like we are not. Obviously, we are building a team which is good for World Cup and hopefully can be good in the future as well. But when you look at, for example, a backup position or any position in the squad, you're looking at the performance right now. And Espino, I think it's just a shame that he's never been given a chance ahead of Fina or Piqueres, who are for me no guarantees based on the way they've played or not played, like Viña in the recent season. So yeah, and then you have Cesc Carballo, who played really well in the Clásico on Sunday. It could be an interesting player. I just think, yeah, with the midfield depth we have right now, he probably will not be considered, which, well, might be a shame, but I think it's logical. I just hope Carballo can go back to Europe and make well, have a good club, develop and do well, because I know he was in Europe before, but not in the highest level. But I think he has quality to be a good player in Europe, yeah, for sure. And national fans will not like me for saying this. I know that, but yeah. Um, why has Maxi Gomez fallen off so hard? So, well, we talked a bit about it before, and it's a hard one to say to see. Valencia haven't been good in the recent years, while Maxi Gomez, I don't know. I would love to know this, but it's a really puzzles me to this day because he's a good player, but it's just hasn't clicked at Valencia. And there were moments that he did well in his first season. He had some good spells, but yeah, I mean, it's been really a disaster looking at the whole picture. Then yeah, if Uruguay in the World Cup will make the semifinals at least, well, I hope so. I hope so, man. I really hope so. We will see. Um, First the group stage, because I mean, I think we'll go through. I believe we will go through. But South Korea is just a country which, like, um, it's not an Angstgegner, but yeah, I think we will not have it easy against them. I think we will be better. We will have a more comfortable game against Ghana, um, but we will see. Jorge Zapero says, "What do you think about Aguno Torres' chances? He's playing well right now." Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's playing brilliantly. Um, Not only because he's scoring goals and giving assists in the recent weeks, he's just playing well. He's quite an electric player, um, and I hope, to be honest, I think that when you look at the winger positions at the moment, he should be up there with Pelistri to make a chance or to make it to the World Cup squad. He is certainly in the. I wouldn't say that there are. Pelistri is probably the only one above him at the moment when you're talking about the wingers. Ocampo can make a charge. Brian Rodriguez, who knows? David Terrans, I know he's playing a lot from the central attacking midfield position at the moment, or he's not playing a lot, but for Paranense, he's playing there mostly. But Augusto Conobia is a different one. But all these names, when you mention them, there's no, except for Pelistri, because Alonso likes him and he is convinced us all, I think, in the qualifiers. But aside from Pelistri, there's not a name who's bang on to make it to the World Cup squad. And Torres, his form in the recent weeks, it's a big thing. And if he can keep it going, then there's no reason to not mention his name, because or how do you say? There's no reason not to say that he should go, because he's doing well, and it's not a lot of Uruguayan wingers currently that are excelling, and he is one of the few, and that's good to see. Joaquin Sneberger says Salazar and Satriano will be in the squad. Mark my words. Well, could really be the case, and to be honest, I would be happy as well, because I like Salazar, like I said before, and Satriano. I think from all the strikers fighting for the fourth striker position at the moment, he is my favorite, to be honest. The type of profile he is and his qualities. I mean, he just scored today, which I mentioned before earlier on the stream, and let's hope he can keep it going, because he's a really interesting young player. We Made It podcast says, how is Torreira doing in Turkey? Today was playing and he did well. Overall, Gala, I think they got 8 points from the first 5 games, so it's not a great start. And I think Torreira has to get used to playing there. I mean, I think he started the last 2 games, so he's getting into his groove. But hopefully, I mean, I don't like the move. I like Galatasaray. I like Turkish football, the fan culture there. I think it's great, but there were better moves for him, and we will have to see how he's gonna play the upcoming months and how he's gonna be for the World Cup, because Torreira in his best form is a big plus for the team, and for me he always starts. But yeah, we will see. Joaquin, you are absolutely right there. He will absolutely be there, which is a big point of discussion, I think, for many. But yeah, I'm gonna really get through the comments now, because I see that I've got quite a way to go. Piqueras won me over, honestly, says Migusta Gaming. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him, to be honest. He played full games, converted the penalty for Palmeiras and multiple Libertadores games, and handled himself well, even when they went down to 9. I'm not going to discredit him for some of the performances he has given for Palmeiras. I know that they've noted as well. But overall, he doesn't really convince me. I think Oliveira is a better player, and I think Espino has to be respected as well for what he has done for Cadiz in recent seasons. This is why I believe Espino might deserve a chance over Piqueras and Viña at this moment in time. Is it going to happen? No, it's not. So we are talking about something which is not really relevant anyway, but that is probably all the football talk in the world, because we're talking about something which we love, but we probably have we cannot change anything. But that's the nice thing about it as well. We can always just discuss. But yeah, Piqueras, good player. I'm not discrediting this, but my preference lies with Espino. Your squad, Joaquin Sneberger, is Rochette, Muslera, Sosa, Damian Arajo, Godin, Jimenez, Coates, Cáceres, Piqueras, Oliveira, Ugarte, it looks about right. I think, we can always discuss on a few names, which I prefer over the names you mentioned, but overall, that's a good squad. Cáceres, although I would not take, no way. Piqueras, we just had the discussion or the talk about it a few moments ago. I prefer other players, but overall, it's a squad which is acceptable, obviously. And I think Rossi, by the way, you mentioned Rossi. Rossi is not a great start. It's not a great start this season for Fenerbahce. Is not a fixed starter in the starting 11 for Fener, for Jorge Jesus is Fener, the great Jorge Jesus. That's that's something to keep an eye on, because ideally you want a player to play and week in week out and doing well to be considered for the World Cup squad. But yeah, we will see. Jorge Cepero says, I think Pelistri is a lock in the starting 11 for Diego Alonso. He said he'll play against Iran and Canada despite having been injured. Yeah, he confirmed that that they think that he will be back for these games. So yeah, I mean, I think he is quite. I don't think he's a lock, because I think, but certainly he will play a big role in at the World Cup, because yeah, he's just trust is earned, trusted, earned his trust. I mean, Jesus. So yeah. Migusta Gaming says, I think Ocampo and Torres should go over Rossi, who doesn't start at Fenerbahce. Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these players, because obviously the reality we have now, um, yeah, is as it is, with Torres doing well, Rossi not playing from the start, Ocampo just going to Cadiz. But in 2 months' time, we could be having a completely different discussion on the same players. So we will have to see. Um, Danny F is Uruguayan lineup. I'm just going to mention it because it's spread out on a few messages. So Rochette, Arajo, Coates, Josema, Oliveira, Ugarte, Bentancur, Pelistri, Valverde, Rasqueta, Darwin, 4-2-3-1. That's an interesting one for sure. Arajo, the right back. Yeah, we are seeing this a lot for Barcelona as well. To be honest, I don't like it. I want him to play as the center back. But when you come up against top opposition with top wingers like Mbappe, for example, or Vinicius, I understand this, because Araujo is really a beast. Nicolas Hernandez Fidel says, I think people are discounting Suárez much too easily just because he's playing in Uruguay. You don't lose all your quality overnight just because you're playing a worse league or for a couple of months. I agree with this. Yeah, I mean, there are critics of Suárez's move back to Nacional. For all the romance or the great, well, how do you say, the great vibes it gives for Nacional fans, and also for me, and I'm not a Nacional fan. Neither am I a Peñarol fan. So let's get this clear before I get bombarded by Peñarol fans or Nacional fans. But yeah, if you love Suarez, or if you love Uruguayan football, if you love football anyway, then a story like Suarez going back to Nacional is brilliant. And also scoring this goal he scored against Peñarol is just beautiful to see. But there are critics, and on Twitter, I've also discussed and conversated with many of them who just don't believe it's a good move, who think it's just incomprehensible to do this at this important moment, because we are just a few months away from the World Cup. And I understand this. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think, like Nicolas says, that the fact that he's playing now in Uruguay in a much lower level, that he all of a sudden can't hack it, or can't get up to the level that is desired or expected at the World Cup, because he's a player who's been playing in Europe for 16 years, scoring so many goals that you cannot count them anymore. So he will not forget this. And also something he can do at Nacional, which he cannot do probably in Europe, is he can really get to up the best fitness possible, working so specialized on reaching the top physical, his physical peak at the World Cup, and being at home. I mean, having some rest, being home in Uruguay with his family. I mean, obviously, that is also really important for someone. Which, I mean, for Suarez, his family isn't like anyone probably. Suarez family is so important, and for him to have this couple of months here, I think it will do really well for him. It's gonna be a really big positive effect on him. So yeah. Joaquin says Suarez will start on a 4-4-2. I think later in the World Cup we will switch to 4-3-3 for more strength in midfield. But first game he will start surely. Could be, and we are gonna devote a stream or maybe video, but I prefer to be a stream, because then I can interact with you on what we think or what we want to be the lineup for Uruguay at the World Cup. And it could be different lineups, because like you say, and like Alonso says as well, is he's not someone who really thinks in a fixed formation, or he doesn't even think in formations. This is not how he approaches football. So he's really fluid in a way he uses his players. So yeah, we will see. We will see. Ajay, Gulsar, good to see you here, man. Hope someone like Bruno Mendes or Rogel shines in upcoming friendlies. Martin Caceres going to Qatar feels like such a wasted slot. Godin, I can somewhat understand. I agree. I mean, Caceres, I don't see how this makes sense. Godin, he's the captain, so of course that makes sense. Although it still comes with a little bit of frustration. But yeah, because the gaming says, I've come to the conclusion last night watching Suárez that we have to ride or die with Suárez. He's too important, too creative, and a goal from nothing. No one better than him. Yeah, I mean, Suárez for me, he was just his old Suárez, like really getting deeper to receive the ball to the sides, trying to make something happen, trying to not make a player, and not everything that he did, he pulled off. But that is Suarez. Suarez is not a player who he's for Suarez. Every football game is a struggle. Is a fight against himself sometimes, against opponents, obviously. But it's. I mean, that is Suarez, and that's also why we love him because he has imperfections in the way he plays football, but his end result or his quality eventually shines through, like it did with the goal he scored, and like like you say, Migusta Gaming, um, he's not really he's not replaceable in any way, shape, or form. Um, so we have to, and we are gonna use him at the World Cup, and I think he's gonna be great. And I hope so, obviously, but I think so as well. It's not only hope; it's I'm confident that he will come good. Caches gives off more functionality and experience than Rogel and Mendes, and he's in the bad compared to them. Not gonna lie. Well, the thing is, I understand what you mean, but for me, I don't really. Certainly when you have a 26-man squad, I don't think we should be focusing on a multifunctional player um, um, that much because we can have two or three fullbacks on each side. We can have 5, 6 central defenders. Um, so for me, Cáceres, he's not good enough to start as a right back, and he's not good enough to start as a center back for Uruguay. He was relegated twice last season with two different teams. He might be multifunctional, versatile, but he's not that good at either at this moment in time, or at this moment of his career, because he has regressed. He has, yeah. I mean, he's not the player that he used to be, and that's no shame. That's normal. That happens all the time in football, or in any sport, or any walk of life. That some people who used to be good at something get older, and also take their eye off the game maybe a little bit because if someone like Caceres it was really interested in making it to the World Cup, then yeah, he could also maybe decide his future a little bit earlier than like last week when he went to a Galaxy or 2 weeks ago. Um, so maybe that point doesn't make sense to be honest. But the thing is, for me, Caceres is not good enough to play for the Uruguay national team, and certainly not at the World Cup. And if he's versatile, that's good. But I would rather prefer two good, or a good center back or a good right back who might not be able to play in both spots than have one player that is not good enough to fill both spots. And you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to bash your opinion because obviously I know what you're saying. Caceres is a player that is a bit mythical because um, when it matters, he somehow is there and does it, even though he hasn't played for a long time. But I don't want to rely on something like this again. I think we have to go to we have to choose the players which have proven in the last few seasons, but certainly the last season and last few months, that they can be relied on because their quality shines through on a week-to-week basis. And that is what we have to focus on, in my opinion. Um, No, I agree, Ajay. He should be going for sure, and he will go. Obviously, injury was just bad timing for Pelistri, but Pelistri will certainly go soon. Gonna do another 10 minutes, then I'm gonna go end the live stream because tomorrow is gonna be a school day again, and yeah, so I have to sort some things out and take some sleep as well. But thanks for your being here, and we are still gonna continue for another 10 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to put it in there. Ajay Gulzar says, I think Bruno Mendes is familiar with the right back role. He's okay there, in my opinion. That's true. He has played for a right back for Uruguay under 20 as well, but also for Corinthians. Rogel had a stellar 2022, scoring an unusual amount of goals moving up to the pitch. Cáceres has the advantage of experience. Yeah, and some people will prefer experience, but for me, I think we have enough experience in the squad, and Cáceres on his current level doesn't offer enough to be in the squad. Yeah. Eric Duran says, "What lineup do you think we will see in the upcoming friendlies? A lineup to see who can actually make a starting 11, or a little more experimental one where we see Alonso." Okay, so yeah, that's a good question because we can go two ways. Alonso can think, okay, these are my last two, or probably there will be another one in the build up to the World Cup, but this will be the last two friendlies I have with this team before the World Cup. So maybe it's not time to experiment. It's time to really get my players on the pitch who I want to play in the World Cup and try to keep building on the things he's been trying to build on. But yeah, you can also think I'm not sure about some players. I'm still not sure if this player may be a better fit. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think it will be a bit of both. I mean, he will not go with uh, with putting in all new players and experimenting a lot. I think it will be a balance between the two, which I believe is also the best way to do it. Underdog says, "Hey, Hermano, good to see you live again. Thanks, man, and good to see you as well, man. What is the situation with Nandes? Haven't heard much about him in a while. Any chance he makes to Qatar?" Well, he stayed at Cagliari in the Serie B. I mean, there's been interest all summer, but I think, well, not enough anyway. Because if there was genuine interest, he would surely have been gone. Because Cagliari, although they know he's a good player and he can help them promote again, Cagliari also want to lose him because financially he is. He earns a lot, and certainly for a club that is now going to Serie B and has to have huge financial losses because of it. So yeah, and the legal situation with his wife, well, that is just up in the air still. So I'm not gonna. I mean, we can talk about it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense at the moment. But for me, I think the chances of him to go into Qatar are maybe 5%, and it's a shame because obviously he was a really good player for Uruguay, and he might one day be again, but he's just at a low moment in his career. Um, Okay. Danny F says Brian Rodriguez is the biggest flop. I know you are a Brian Rodriguez hater. I know this, man. It's no problem, but I know it. I like Brian, but yeah, we cannot hide the fact that his time at LAFC has not been good. No, for sure. He is now gone to Club America, and hopefully he can do well there. Because still think there's a player in there who can deliver for Uruguay and also can make a career in Europe. But yeah, we will see if this eventually will happen. Uh, Musigusta Gaming says Terence must have had an argument with Adolfo Scolari because he doesn't give him time. He doesn't give him time of day anymore. Yeah, I know. I was talking with you, I think, on Twitter about this maybe a couple of days ago. That Atletico Paranaense are doing really well in the semifinals of the Copa Libertadores, and Terence was one of their key players at the start of 2022, and all of a sudden he's just fallen out of favor. I don't know what this is about as well. It's a shame because he would have been a good option for me for Uruguay national team, but at this moment it seems difficult. Okay. Joaquin Seneberger says, so yeah, okay. Alonso said hours ago that he want doing the changes against USA again in the upcoming friendlies. So yeah, and that's good. But I still will be experimenting. I believe will be a balance between the two. I think. So we will see. It's gonna be interesting anyway. Either way, it's gonna be good to see Uruguay play again. That's always the case for me anyway. Jorge Cepero says, which players do you think must Maslakic injured for Uruguay to have a great World Cup? For me, I think they are Valverde and Bentancur. I think Valverde is the one player that I think I don't want to see injured. But there are many players. Araujo will be also a big loss because I think um, Araujo is just different gravy. I mean, yeah, I think Araujo has to play. So I would say Araujo and Valverde, and probably Bentancur after this. But Araujo and Valverde would be me two players that don't should not get injured, which they have been. They've been injured throughout their career. Araujo more than Valverde. It's a shame, but yeah, let's hope it doesn't happen again. Um, Yeah, Jorge. Yeah, I mean, Jesus, mine. That was. I went to a birthday and it was a nice birthday. Um, but yeah, I was discussing with someone or with a few people. One of them was a friend of mine, or two of them actually, and two of them, well, maybe a bit of we know each other, but not a lot of not friends to be honest. And yeah, and I just had to argue against him that Cavani is a better player or had a better career than Jimmy Vardy, and yeah, was just talking against a brick wall. But they always when I start arguments on Uruguayan players or on Uruguay, the national team, they always label against me that I am biased towards Uruguay. And although I obviously support Uruguay, I always and also on my Twitter account. And if that's not the case, if I'm speaking, if I'm lying here, please tell me. But also on Twitter, I try to be the most unbiased I can. Sometimes the bias will get over me because, yeah, you are a fan of a certain player or a certain team like Uruguay. But I always try to be um, objective. But no, they don't believe me. They also always think that I'm yeah just hyping up everything about Uruguay and Uruguayan football. But yeah, that's the way it is. It was fun anyway. But yeah, I won the debate in my book. That's all that matters for me. So Underdog says Guillermo Varela is another player I would not mind seeing in the starting lineup. He really impressed me the last time he played well for Uruguay. Yeah, I think um, I think he will go to the World Cup. To be honest, we have a lot of left backs, right backs, not so much. Um, and Damian is a lock for me, but Guillermo Varela played really well against USA. He went to Flamengo and he played his first game for Flamengo at the weekend. He was substituted at half time. It's not like he played really bad. I didn't watch the game myself, but when I always try to keep in contact with certain people I know from clubs who do watch and who I believe have a fair judgment. So and Varela, um, so yeah, so it's not like he had a horror game, but hopefully he can play more, and then he will be a really good player for us at the World Cup, a useful squad player. Because I think Damian will probably start or Arajo against playing against the bigger oppositions at the right back. Um, Danny F says Arcara Caceres is a waste of a spot. We already have Arajo who is starting at right back, and then we have Damian Suarez and Guye Varela, who are both better than him right now. Yes, I agree. And Nathan Andes would have been a perfect right back for Uruguay under Alonso. Yeah, hard to argue against this as well. But yeah, that's the way it is. So yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you for being here, to listening to me, to getting your comments in. Really, some really good points, and it's always good to see a difference of opinion because. I mean, what point is it having a discussion if you all have the same opinion? So yeah, there are decisions to be made on the striker position, on left back, right back, center back, midfield is probably more secure, for example, or for the exception of possible inclusion of Salazar. But yeah, still many decisions to be made for Alonso and his national team or his national team stuff. Um, and one of these decisions or one of these topics is also Oscar Ortega, the physical trainer of Atletico and also Uruguay. But his contract with Uruguay is already ended, and hopefully he can go to the World Cup, but it's not sure yet. So yeah, no, we will see. Anyway, it was nice to go live again and speak to you all. Thanks for being here. I will see you again soon because we're gonna keep this going more regularly. I'm trying to we'll try to do this for sure. And also with Alessandro Vina, who you probably know from the stream and also maybe from Twitter, we will also try and set something up. Because yeah, besides the national team, Uruguay at the moment have so many players playing abroad, doing well or showing promise, and that's just so exciting. So yeah, thanks to you all for listening and being here, letting your opinion be known. I appreciated it as always, and I will see you probably very soon. But anyway, on Twitter I will speak to you, and until I see you again in live stream, we will keep going, keeping in touch there. So yeah, thanks to you all for being here, and I will see you, well, in I hope a week. Let's say a week. I will be back in a week, probably on the same day. We will do this again, and yeah, because yeah, that's I think the best way to do it. I was just thinking what is the best way, and probably for you guys as well, because some of you will have um, maybe have work or stuff, because the time zones, I live in a different time zone than a lot of you guys probably will be. Um, but anyway, we will see. So yeah, for the third time, thank you, and I will see and speak to you very soon. Bye bye.